Welcome back to Circuit Revival, where today, after last week's fail, we have another Nintendo Switch Lite to try out. So this one, again, is a no power, and I think very much like the last one, it's quite clear to see why. So I've had a look in the port quickly, and it doesn't look good. So we'll just pull over the scope, and we'll just take a look. And here we are, just under the scope, and you can clearly see one of those pins is folded all the way back on itself. So the seller of this has opened it. You can see that the screws look a bit stripped. And they said that they tried to replace the battery and it still didn't fix the issue. And I think we can possibly see why that may be. So we'll get it open and see what damage it's caused. Normally I would stick an ammeter into this to double check, but given that pin I don't want to cause any more damage. So we'll just get this open and take a look inside. Okay, so I've just got the back cover off, and there's probably a few things to point out. One, this definitely belonged to a smoker because there's a really big smell coming out of it of smoke, and I'm not entirely sure all these screws have been put back right because this does not seem to be sat in very well. But we'll continue going and see how it looks when we get inside. Okay, so those screws are pretty difficult to get out. I think the screw that was supposed to be here was put down here, but we've got it out. But we'll just flip this over to see how the thermal paste looks. And it's kind of impressive. There's sort of none on it. It's all sort of just oozed down to the bottom of the case here. So I'll be interested to see what else we see inside this. So they said that they swapped the battery out, but I'm fairly certain that's the original battery. So I don't know whether maybe they just bought a new battery, tried to plug it in, and it didn't make a difference, so they just gave up at that point. Okay, so there we go, the board is out. So we'll start just doing some tests around the board, see if we can find any shorts or anything to begin with. And it might start to open up any concerns we may have. So we'll just pull this under the scope. So here we are, here's the charger port. So we'll just check a couple of things to begin with. So this chip here is the M92. So I know the port's still on and it can sort of like change the reading slightly, but we'll just double check that there's no shorts around here to begin with. So what I'm going to do is put one probe on ground, and then I'm just going to touch either side of these capacitors here. We want a beep on one side and not the other. And from what I gather, this is the important one, because if this has a beep on the inside, that is the cap that goes to the APU, which I think basically means it's game over. So test around BQ as well here, and that all seems good. I'm just confused. So I think we just start by getting this port off. Hopefully it's just a nice simple swap. We said that last time, we know how that went. So let's get this propped up and let's get this port removed. Okay, so I realised that my camera just cut out there and I don't think it's going to keep the footage, so sorry you missed that, but we're just going to prepare the port here. So I've got a bit of flux on it, and once again I'm just going to get some leaded solder. I'm just going to run it across the pins. Doing this will help it connect when it actually comes to the board, because the solder will want to connect to itself. Here we are, back over where the port's going to go. So once again I'm just going to add a tiny bit of flux to this. And then we're going to do exactly the same. So we're going to heat up from underneath until all of this goes molten, and then I'm just going to come in, and I'm just going to drop the port in place. Okay, I'm not fully set on all of those, so I'm just going to come in with the iron again. Okay, it's not the cleanest, but let's just test these. Okay, that feels good. Don't think there's any bridges. So let's plug this in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we have 15 volts, sort of. it's not making a solid connection, but let's try the other side. And that looks like it's just booted. Let's try plug this in and see what it does, because I can't tell if that's normal or not. So we'll get it back in the housing and we'll give it a test. Let me just try to see if it's out of this port, because there's obviously a lot of flux, so it could just be filled with mess. Okay, we have the board in enough to test now, so let's see whether it does anything whilst it's in the housing. Okay, we have a charging symbol. Just test that the other way though. Okay, looks like it's working both ways. Just leave this a bit and see whether it turns on. Okay, it looks like it may have just restarted and we have a boot screen. Do we get any further? Looks like it's gone into fast charging. Amazing. Whoa, how many games and profiles do we have on here? Amazing. I'm so happy about that. After the last one, that's amazing. So let's get this back together and test it out properly. Okay, I was just about to put it together and I've just seen this. So it looks like someone has tried to, I don't know, do something with the power button board, and the actual kind of connector is broken. So what I think I'm going to do with this, because it also smells a bit, is I think I'm going to put it in the chassis of the old one and then see how that works, because we know that the connectors and everything there work. If not, I'll just swap out the Joy-Con board. So I'll get it in the other housing now. Okay, so there we have it. It's just in the coral one, so we'll continue putting the rest of this together and come back once it's done. Okay, so we'll just test some of these buttons then, just to make sure everything's working. Okay. Okay, everything's working there. Touchscreen's working. Cool, that's good. And that one's good. So that is all fully working. I'm so happy about that. Excellent. So a little bit more testing to do, but thanks for joining. We'll see you in the next one.